Welcome to Take 5. This is where we take 5 minutes. It's usually on a Thursday or a Friday, and we give you a bit of a preview in the next 5 minutes of what we're going to be discussing on Sunday. So this Take 5 refers to the 27th of February. It's our last Sunday in the month of February. This is the last day or last Sunday of the month, and this is traditionally where we celebrate communion with one another. We hope we can see you in person at 10 o'clock, or as well, we'll be recording our teaching on YouTube. You can connect either through Facebook, or you can go directly to our website, or if you have subscribed to our YouTube channel, Faith Church Martinsville, you can get to all the teachings on there. Well, for the past handful of weeks, we've been on this teaching series called Redefine, and there are 3 segments to this teaching series. We just completed a couple weeks ago the first segment, and that was a segment on greatness, individual greatness, redefining what it means to be great as an individual. For the context or subject matter for that part of, or that segment of our series Redefine, we looked at the greatest individual that ever lived according to the words of Jesus, a guy by the name of John the Baptist. We looked at his life. We looked at what he valued. We looked at what controlled him, or who controlled him, I should say. We looked at how he lived his life. We didn't pay a whole lot of attention to some of the details, some of the outside observations. That was John. He was known for living in the wilderness and eating bugs and wearing animal skins. But we focused on his character, and he was a person of incredible character, incredible priority. He understood what his purpose was. He understood his place. His famous line was, "Less of me, more of Jesus. I must decrease, he must increase." He knew how to die well. He gave his life for what he believed in, and he was controlled completely by the Holy Spirit. And so hopefully in that segment of our teaching series, Redefine, it has started to work in our heads and our minds to redefine the definition of greatness. Last week, we introduced our second segment in our teaching series, Redefine. We're going to be looking at greatness in regard to our gatherings. And the text for the next several weeks, we're going to be spending some time in the 2nd and the 3rd chapter of the book of Revelation. If you're familiar with that, this is where Jesus defines greatness in regard to his gatherings or his churches. There are 7 churches, literal churches, that are mentioned in the book of Revelation, chapter 2 and chapter 3. And truly beauty, or greatness, I should say, is in the eye of the beholder. If you look at chapter 1 in the book of Revelation, we spent some time on this last week, Jesus is very clear. He is the one who, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. He is the one who gets to define greatness, what success is, what is of value in his church. Jesus calls his church the bride, right? And so truly, beauty is in the eye of Jesus, the eye of the beholder. He is the one who has the right to speak, because he is the one who's paid the price for his bride, the church, right? And we are a part of that. Church really is just a word for gathering. It's this Greek word ekklesia, and there were several pockets of gatherings or churches that met throughout the ancient world in the 1st century. And so John, the Apostle John, really the last remaining disciple, has been banished to this island, and really to not make a martyr of him because of the Roman Empire had made a martyr of a number of the disciples. John, the final disciple, he's banished to this island, hopefully in obscurity. And yet, this is where God gives him this incredible vision of things that were, things that are, and things that are to come. And before he gets into all of the things that are to come, the Apostle John, because of this vision, is Jesus's words. He addresses the church. He addresses his bride. He addresses these 7 churches. This letter would have been just a traveling letter, right? So we're going to look at a church this next week on the 27th of February that Jesus describes as outside in terms of the attacks, and he actually says, this is the culture and where you live. This is where Satan lives. He understands that there was persecution. He understands that his bride, the church in this particular city, endured this persecution well. But what was the problem? The problem is that they allowed something on the inside, right? As far as the persecution, the attacks from the outside, they could see that dog coming, right? And so they endured well, and Jesus actually commends them for their faithfulness during times of intense persecution where they lost one of their leaders. But they allowed from amongst them a pocket, a Trojan horse, in a sense, from the inside out that was compromising the integrity, the beauty of God's church. So we're going to be discussing that. Well, it's 30 seconds after my 5-minute timeline, and so I'm going to say goodbye. We hope to see you in person either at 10 o'clock on Sunday, either that, or you can also follow us on YouTube or Facebook. Thank you for your time. God bless. Have a great part of your day.